This morning, I have arranged to go and collect some tires for our Lada NIVA. Once I picked it up, it was off to the store to get them fitted. Arriving at the store, I also purchased a bunch of parts to fix up Dennis's suspension on his Chevy Belair. Now it was back to the shop to start preparing for Monday morning. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. Right, so yes, it is Monday morning. It's quite early still, at least. So yeah, we had a bit of a busy weekend. As you can see, I managed to finish the little carport over here, put some trim around it, and I also managed to get that part there by the roof sealed up a bit. Although it's not perfect, it's still yeah, leaks in a little bit, but that's okay. Alright, so over here, first of all, we do have got the interior for our 3rd gen Pontiac Firebird. I did go ahead and mount the cluster in the dashboard already, so that is ready to go in the car. Which is actually why the trailer is connected up to our pickup truck, because we need to go and pick up the Firebird. But I first think we need to try and sort out a couple of other things here at the shop, because at the moment we've got Dennis's car here on the lift still, which needs pretty much all of its suspension. And then we can probably get the wheels back on it, and then it should be able to at least be pushed around again. So yeah, that I think is going to be the first thing we're going to tackle today. In other news, also we did get the tires mounted, and I also painted the wheel rims black, so those are looking much better. So yes, I did buy a matching rim for this corner, which was actually missing a wheel. So I had to put on the backup wheels we had laying around the shop just to get this thing, you know, to sit on wheels and tires while these were taken off. So we're going to be swapping those out, and also we're going to start some work on the little NIVA over here. So I've got some suspension things to change. We've got some shock absorbers and stuff. So yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff going on here. I also managed to get the front drive shaft again, and I would also like to start working on the engine, replacing the cylinder head and, you know, stuff like that. And just pretty much see what is in the trunk that we need to replace. So yeah, that is there's quite a lot of stuff going on to this little NIVA from its trunk. And we also got some fresh wheel houses inside the car, which we're going to replace soon. So yeah, that is pretty much where we are standing at the moment with our projects. So yeah, in other news, we've got another customer also contacted me with regards to swapping out some body panels on a little race car of his. So that will only be here once the Chevy Belair has left the shop. So there's quite a lot of work going on at the shop at the moment. So I didn't feel we could pretty much take on more work at the moment. So yeah, what I think I'm going to do is tackle this suspension on the Belair. So we're going to start with the rear axle over here, which we have bought a new one. So this is going to pretty much go in the car, and then we are just going to take it from there. So yeah, let's start off by bolting down all of these bolts down here. Alright, so I think we can get our differential locked differential installed. So there are a couple of bolts on this, and there we go, that should do. Alright, so in terms of new parts, I did buy all the parts we really needed to replace. So we are trying to save a little bit of money, and obviously we need to make sure this car is going to be sort of reliable for a little bit. So that is pretty much what we are doing. We're just going to see if we can also get the engine ripped out today and maybe strip down a bit, so that we can pretty much figure out what's going on with the engine, why it's not running. Because apparently the car was running when he got it, and it didn't last very long, and the engine just didn't want to turn over, or it turned over but it just didn't want to fire up anymore. So yeah, we're going to pretty much investigate that as well and see what is really going on with the engine. Alright, so yeah, I think now we should be able to do our brakes. So I did replace, or we are going to be replacing the rear right brake caliper. So that is a brand new one. And then pretty much all the rest are the old ones. So I think let's start by mounting some new pads to these calipers. Alright, let's get them all put into place. Just like that. Alright, and we also have got one of these brake hoses that we had to replace. I think it's this one is the new one, so we'll just go ahead and put the new one on pretty much one of these calipers. Alright, and let's grab another one over here. And be sure to bolt that down as well. Alright, so let's get this one mounted. So that should pretty much sort out the brakes in this car. Alright, let's grab the other one over here. Come around this side. And zip that down. Just like that. Okay, so next up we've got rear shock absorbers. So I did buy 2 new front shock absorbers. So those are going to go in the front. So these ones are pretty much, yeah, the ones we took off the car. So I think they are still good enough. Alright, let's check this one. Yeah, this one. This is the one that's a little bit more worn, but it's still fairly decent. Alright, let's just reach that bolt. There we go. Right, I think that is pretty much rear suspension done. So now we can get these rear wheels, the wider ones, mounted back on the car. Just like that. Alright, and let's grab the next one. Alright, great stuff. Now we can move over to the front suspension, which we've got a new steering link. So that needs to go on pretty much over here. Alright, there we go. And let's bolt that down. We've got our new tie rods as well, because I decided to replace both of them. Alright, where's this going? Over there. Fairly decent. Alright, and then let's grab this one. Let's come over to this side and bolt it down there and over there. Alright, next up we are going to do pretty much the brakes. So let's get our brake discs. Wait a second. Got to mount the hubs first, obviously. So let's get these wheel hubs back on. Alright, and then we can pretty much tackle the brakes. Alright, so let's get our brake discs installed now. Alright, there's one. Let's get the other one. Alright, great stuff. Now we just need to pretty much get the pads in the calipers. Right, I'll probably quickly chuck this in the trash bin over here. Alright, let's get these fitted. Just like that. There we go. Alright, so these are still the old calipers we took off the car, so don't really need to replace them. They still seem fairly decent. Right, so let's get these brake hoses mounted as well. Goes over there. Come on. There we go. Alright, so this is the front right. Can pretty much go on here. And zip it down. Alright, next one on the other side. And then it's pretty much just shock absorbers. And then we should be ready to get this thing lowered down on the ground again. Right, we've got it. Yes, that's it. All right, perfect. Let's get our shock absorbers. All right, and bolt it down there and up there. And let's get the other new one. Just like that. Perfect. All right, so now, last but not least, let's get our 2 front wheels mounted. Okay, great stuff. Now we should be able to lower this thing down. But I think before we do that, let's quickly just investigate what we need to take off here. We need to take off this exhaust, which is a little bit crusty. So let's remove that. That is going to be replaced. And then this one still, yeah, looks fairly decent. So we might don't have to replace this. There we go. Alright, so that is good. Alright, now we can lower this thing down. Alright, and now we are pretty much going to rip the engine out of here. So I think we've got a couple of bolts. Obviously we need to take off first. Just like that. And we've got a fuel line to take off over here. So now luckily our table is clear now, so we can put some parts back on it. The fuel lines seem to be fairly decent. Alright, let's get in here. We need to take this bolts off. And then this one. And then I think we still need to take off the earth cable back here. There it is. Alright, let's pull it out and put it straight on our stand over here. Alright, perfect. So we are going to pretty much start tearing into this thing. I think we do have some parts we need for this. Like we do have a cylinder head for this side, but we don't have a header for this side yet. So we might have to order some parts. But we're going to try and keep it to a minimum of, you know, parts we need to buy. We need a new water pump. The harmonic balancer we do have a spare one there on the table, or on the shelf rather. So that should still work for us. So I think we are going to tackle this after we have pretty much get our little NIVA over here up on its original wheels again. So I think we're going to tackle that first, and then we'll pretty much tear into the engine, because there's not really any point of tearing into the engine when we don't have all of the parts. So yeah, I think let's start with this. So let's get this lifted up. Alright, so let's take these old crusty wheels off. Alright, we'll just put them back down where they were. So in terms of other work on this little NIVA, we are going to be tackling the suspension once our lift area is free again, and we don't have a vehicle standing there that needs engine. So we'll pretty much have to get that car driving, and then we'll get it out of the way, and then we can pretty much get our NIVA up on the lift and start stripping suspension off of that. So my plan is, once the NIVA is sorted out a bit, we can start daily driving this, and then I will be working on our little shop truck a little bit, because obviously it still needs a lot of work as well. Alright, so there we go. I also did air the tires up already, so they are good to go. Alright, let's go around this side. And I think on this corner we are going to be replacing a rear spring, because it sits a little bit low on this side. So we'll pretty much see once the wheels are mounted which one is the culprit over here. Or we can probably just investigate it. Alright, so there we go. We've got a couple of spare wheels laying around now. Let's get this one bolted down here. Alright, and then this, yeah, pretty much a Mercedes wheel. Well, I just pretty much used what I had. So which is, yeah, I think it's common sense to use what you've got. Alright, and then last but not least, let's get this wheel mounted. In fact, let's quickly do these wheel houses, I think, because that might actually be easier to do while the wheels aren't on the car. So we might have to take the other one off again. So yeah, I think let's get that sorted out. So where did I put my cutting disc now? Oh, there it is on the floor. Alright, let's get this back on the angle grinder. Alright, let's see if we can cut these panels off. Alright, and there it is. So the nice thing is also our crusty old spring came out, which we can also replace now. Alright, let's get that welded up for now. I know we still have to do a frame rail, but that is okay. We can pretty much sort that out once we've got the lift tree, as I mentioned. Alright, so let's put this back in place. Alright, and then I think let me grab the new spring we've got over here. I see we've got a backup wrench in the back of the trunk as well. So that's fairly decent. Now, where did I get... there we go. Alright, here's the toolbox. Alright, let's get this mounted back into place. And then our wheel can go on. Just like that. Alright, so now if we lower this thing down, hopefully it'll sit okay. Otherwise, we're going to have to probably lift the suspension for these tires to fit. Yeah, they do look a little too big for the car. Or we might have to lift the suspension a bit, because there's going to be a little bit of rubbing with this. So yeah, there is probably going to be some rubbing. So we're going to have to probably make a plan for this to fit the car a little bit better. Alright, but I think let's continue with the other wheel well on the opposite side anyway. So I think I may have bought 2 big tires. So the other option is to pretty much swap the wheels from our shop truck maybe onto this, and then get these tires fitted to our shop truck. I think that might actually do quite well if we have to. Right, let's see. Let's quickly take this off again. Alright, and then we'll pretty much have to remove our spring from that side. So let's grab this. Let's take this one off. Yeah, that's definitely not the case why this thing is hanging so low. I think it's probably our shock absorbers. Did I get... Yes, I actually did get some shock absorbers, but I don't know if these are... these ones are for the front. I don't think we have got rear shock absorbers. Oh, wait a minute. What do we have back here that they... Yeah, there's quite a bunch of parts in this trunk. So I think maybe I should just start unpacking this trunk a little bit, and we can pretty much see what's going on here. So we might have to just replace these shock absorbers as well. There's another one back there. Okay, so we do have new shock absorbers for the back. So I think we can also do that while we are down here. So I think let's get this one replaced. Alright, so there that one is. That one is a little bit old. Okay, and then I think the other one on the opposite side is actually broken. So that is why this thing is sitting so low at the back probably. Yes, that is very broken. Alright, let's dig into this and get this shock absorber mounted. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to help the ride height a little bit. It might. We'll see. Alright, let's get back to what we were actually doing over here. So we need to cut this off. And there we go. Yeah, this one is bad, but it's not as bad as the other one was. Right, can we reach it from here? Yes, we can. Alright, let's get this put into place. Just like that, and grab the welding machine. Alright, perfect. Now I think let's just put our spring back in. And then we will get our wheel mounted. Just try and keep all the rubbish together over here. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's get this thing lowered down. And let's just pick up our welder so it's not laying down on its side over here. There we go, that's actually a nice spot for it. Okay, so let's quickly have a look and see if this thing looks a little bit better. Yeah, it still needs to be lifted up a bit, so we might have to get some high suspension coils But I do think that's going to change the stability of this thing. So I would rather just see if we can swap these wheels over to our shop truck maybe. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be trying to drive this thing just yet with these wheels. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a phone call to Richard at the Autobody and just check if our Pontiac Firebird is ready for collection. So yeah, I think that is something we need to try and sort out in this episode. Alright, so I just got off the phone with Richard and he said that we are pretty much good to come and pick up our Firebird. So I think what we're going to do is just pretty much switch off our lights and close our door, and then we are going to hit the road and see if we can pick up our Firebird. So yeah, I think let's pretty much jump in and head over there. Alright, so there she is. Our 3rd gen Pontiac Firebird has been repainted and it actually looks very nice. I actually didn't think it was gonna come out as beautiful as it is. But yes, I see they even painted the wheel rims black for us. Yeah, they didn't really have to do that, but yeah, I think we are gonna pretty much try and get this thing loaded up to our trailer so that we can take it back home and start sorting everything out on the interior. We've got pretty much all of the parts we need to get this thing sorted out now. We even got our headliner and some new seats. So yeah, I think, yeah, let's get this thing back to our shop and then see what we can get done today and get this thing sorted out. Alright, and she is loaded up and I think we are ready to hit the road. So yeah, I think let's jump in and get this thing back to our shop. Alrighty, and she is back at the shop safely. Didn't have any trouble towing it. There was just I think our shop truck needs a little bit of work to the suspension because it's a little bit swingy towing a trailer now with the shop truck. So we're gonna lift this thing up and we are going to do our old famous trick by just loosening the e-brake over here and let it roll back, and hopefully it goes all the way just like that. Let's just catch it. There we go. Alright, perfect. So now I would really like to try and get this car sorted out so that we can put it up for auction. So I think that is what I'm going to do now, is pretty much change the wheels. We're gonna install the interior and we are gonna pretty much button this thing up now. So I think we've got a nice little space over here to work. So obviously our shop truck and trailer will just have to stay there for now. So yeah, I think let's start with maybe the wheels and tires, because we've got brand new wheels and tires, and I also managed to go and get some spacers, which I'm hoping is going to be the correct ones for these wheels to get the right offset. So yeah, I think that is pretty much the first thing we're going to do. So let me get these wheels a little bit closer. Alright, I think we are pretty much ready to get the wheels fitted. So I've got all the wheel spaces here at each corner. We've got our toolbox because we're going to need to air up the tires probably. And then, yeah, pretty much just transform this thing into a proper looking 3rd gen Firebird with the period correct wheels and tires. So yeah, let's start pretty much on this corner. Gonna undo these old wheels and then, yeah, let's just have a look at how this is gonna look. Alright, let's get this wheel mounted as well. And then I think we can do a little bit of just a checkup to see what it actually looks like. Alright, and one more bolt. There we go. Alright, so that is pretty much what the car is going to look like. Let's just get it lowered down. Alright, and let's get our air pump. Let's get some air into these tires. Okay, so that is quite good looking actually. I think those wheels definitely suit the car. It's definitely the best wheels I can imagine for this vehicle. Alright, let's go around the other side and just do these two as well. And then we are pretty much going to tackle the interior as well and sort that out. So I decided to order some tan interior because that is the original color of this car's interior. So we are just sticking with pretty much everything original on this vehicle. Except for the engine, because I believe the engine is usually a 305 cubic inch. And we have upgraded to a 318, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be. But I think the wheel offset definitely looks good with these spaces. There's definitely a much better fitment with them. Alright, so where's our spacer? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's get this one on as well. And this wheel. Let's get to all these bolts again. Let's lower this thing down so that we can see where we need to air the tires up to. Just like that. And let's grab our pump over here and see where this valve stem is. And it's sometimes a little bit tricky to find, but we've got it over there. Alright, and I think that is, yeah, let's just pump it up one more time. There we go. Alright, and let's do the last one over here. Alright, let's just give it one touch, and there we go. Alright, so there's all the wheels mounted to this car, and it is looking much better. So last but not least, we are going to tackle this interior. So I do want to start with the dashboard. So I think that is the first thing that we're going to mount. So let's get this installed. Alright, and there are some screws over here. I just gotta find all of these screws. There we go. We've got both of those. Let's come around this side. Okay, so that's our dashboard pretty much in place. And then I think we are going to grab our wrench once we put the screwdriver in the toolbox. Alright, so let's take this steering wheel off, because this is obviously not the right steering wheel for this car. So we'll put it to our pile of yeah, interior parts we have laying around so far. Alright, let's get this one bolted down. Alright, so that is our dashboard installed with our steering wheel. Let's get the rest of the interior sorted out here. We've got pretty much our temporary seat over here, which is going to come out. It's also a little bit too big for this car, so actually surprised it was going in. Alright, so I think let me first take off all of the old panels here. We've got a door card here which we need to replace anyway. So this one still seems to be fairly decent, but we've got a new one with the set. So we'll get that one, the new one fitted rather. Let's get our trunk open here as well. And let's get this bolt loosened up over here. And then we'll take this rear carpet panel out, or the inner floor as they would call it. So that has been removed. I think that is pretty much all of the parts out. So I think we're going to start with our headliner. which is pretty much the biggest part here. And this has already got the weather stripping installed as well. Alright, let's get that bolt down. Alright, so next up I think we're going to take the rear panels. We're going to get these rear panels in place. I think, there we go. Alright, so those have got some bolts down here. I think there's just pretty much the one on this panel. And let's get the opposite side one over here. This one is for the left. And let's go and get this bolt tightened down there as well. And then let's grab our door card. So this one is for the passenger door. Just like that. That just pretty much snaps on. And then we've got a driver side door panel. Just like that. And now let's grab our trunk inner floor trim over here and get that down. And there we go, we've got a bolt over there. Alright, so that is a lot of interior parts already installed. Let's grab our back seat as well. Alright, so this has got the bolt over there, and we've got a bolt over there. Alright, then our front seats. So which side is this? This is the passenger side. Let's get this put into place. Alright, and let's grab the other one, the driver's seat. And that is pretty much the last piece to this puzzle, and I think this car should be pretty much done. Alright, and there we go. Alright, so now that our Firebird is done, I think we are pretty much just going to clean up a little bit around the shop, and then I'll bring you guys back up to speed. Alright, I think the shop is looking a little bit more presentable now. I did unpack all of the stuff in the trunk of our NIVA. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of parts actually for this little car. But I think we are going to pretty much dig into this engine to see what parts we need to get for this as well. So I think let's start off by ripping the oil pan off and just checking all the internals. And I think this is going to give us a pretty good idea of what the condition is of this engine. And there we go, we've got a very rusty oil pan. We do have a replacement for that already. Looks like there's a couple of bad pistons here, so we'll see if we can get them out like this. Yeah, I think that's something we can replace. We do have a couple of pistons laying around, so yeah, we'll pretty much see which ones are the better ones and just get them installed. I think the crankshaft actually doesn't look too bad in this engine. So yeah, let's continue taking pistons off. This one also looks quite bad. We'll just unbolt all of these that look bad. And they will pretty much just fall to the ground over here. Alright, some of these are very bad. I think that's actually the reason why this car wasn't running anymore. We've got 5 bad pistons, so we might actually have to put all of those pistons in. Do we have enough? Yeah, we've got 5 pistons over here, so these ones should at least let the car run. So we can get those installed. I think let's do it while we are busy with this. I think it's just going to be easier if we can sort things out as we go. Alright, let's bolt these back on. Alright, so pretty much we've got all of the used pistons we had on our shelf installed onto this engine. So I think that is probably going to help the engine out a little bit. So I wanted to come and grab this oil pan, because we do have the oil pan that came off the other engine, the one that Hugo gave us. So I think if we just get this one installed, then that'll pretty much work a little bit better. Just got to figure out which bolts I tighten down over here. I think we've got another one there. Okay, alright, let's get that one off. Alright, so here's the oil pan for this engine. We'll pretty much get this bolted down. So obviously we are going to have to buy a couple of new parts. So I will pretty much make a list of those, and then we will know what is what. Alright, so I think next up, let's take off our clutch plate over here, along with our pressure plate. I think we might have a replacement clutch plate, but we don't have a pressure plate, so we might have to get a new one of these. There we go. Alright, so that one is looking quite bad. The clutch plate is still serviceable. Let's just see what these ones look like on our shelf. So we've got, yeah, pretty much this one is a little bit better. So I think we might just put this one on. So that one can pretty much go back on our shelf, and then that should work a little bit better on this engine. Alright, so let's continue. We've got pretty much a bad header on this side, which we're gonna probably get a new one. Alright, so we do have a header, but it's a little bit of an odd one. It looks a little bit different. Let's get this oil filter off as well. Alright, I think let's start here at the front now. We've got our engine fan halfway loosened already. So let's get that removed. Actually, I don't want to mix the parts now, because now we've only got the one table. I might actually have to get a second table over here. Alright, let's take the alternator belt off and see what the condition is of that. It's still fairly decent. As I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to get this engine up and running again. And the alternator, still quite good. Doesn't look like it's too bad. Let's get this water pump removed, which we are going to have to replace. So we do not have a spare water pump laying around, sadly. But that's okay. We've got pretty much a little bit of budget left still. So we're going to have to replace that. Just put that down on the floor for now. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is pretty much change all the spark plugs in this engine, because spark plugs are inexpensive, and that'll just eliminate any issues we might have with that. So let's get this rocker cover off. Still seems decent. We've got good rockers over here, so I think let's get these plug wires off quickly, because I do want to rip the head off just to check the head gasket quickly. So let's get all of these bolts taken off. And then we've got the ones on the intake. We need to loosen up. Alright, so here's our good cylinder head. Doesn't look too bad. Alright, so this head gasket is still fairly decent. It's reusable, so let's put it back on. Alright, and let's bolt this down again. Alright, and there we go. Now we can pretty much replace our valve cover over here. Let's get this bolted down. Fuel pump seems decent. Let's quickly remove this pulley from the harmonic balancer at the front. And we'll move over to the other side, because I actually want to replace this quickly. So that is looking quite bad. But we do have got this one over here, which is still working. Alright, and there we go. That is fixed up already. Alright, let's move over to this side. We've got pretty much just this header, which is in fair condition, so we don't have to replace this. So we'll put that back on. And yeah, let's get this valve cover removed, which is a little bit rusty, so we'll get a new one of these. Let's bring this cylinder head closer, because I think this is the one that we need on this engine. Alright, so let's get this rocker transferred over while we are busy with this. Alright, and get it popped onto here. Let's get those bolts tightened down. Alright, now we can remove this old cylinder head. We also need to get this, so let me just take this off. we'll pretty much scatter all the parts on the floor for now. Alright, and let's get these bolts loosened up, and we still have 2 over here. And we can also check the head gasket on this side. Which bolt did we miss? We missed something. Alright, that one, that one, that one. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's just put that on the ground. Spark plugs, there are 3 decent ones, but as I said, we're going to replace that. Alright, so do we have a better head gasket than this one? Alright, let's have a look here on our shelf, what we have. Alright, so I think this one is a little bit better, and I just saw the valve cover. Alright, so let's grab this. Alright, bolt that down. And we'll bolt this down again. And those 3. Alright, so I did find this valve cover, which will fit. It's the one with the AMG sticker on it, so it's going to look a little bit odd, but I think it's going to be fine. So at least now we know our engine's internals are pretty much as good as it's going to be. And we just need to order a couple of things, which is going to be very low cost. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, so obviously this can't be mounted. But I do want to check up on our timing chain, gear and crank sprocket over here. So let's get this removed quickly for a second. And we'll probably just put this back on if everything looks decent. Yeah, I think we are good to get this fitted back. Alright, that is pretty good. Alright, let's get our harmonic balancer put back on. And there we go. Alright, so there's really not a lot of things we need to order. So we've already got the pistons replaced. We're going to need a water pump. We do have got the thermostat housing we need to replace. The alternator is still good. The belt's still good. The fan is still good. So yeah, we've got pretty much this header to replace. And then we've got pretty much our pressure plate, which we need to get. That is something we need. And then, yeah, I think all the rest of these parts we can pretty much scrap. I don't think there's any use in keeping these old parts around. We're also going to need an oil filter, obviously. And then some spark plugs. Alright, so we've got quite a bit of things done in this episode. We've got our Firebird sorted out. We've got the wheels and tires mounted on our NIVA or NIVA over here. So I might actually swap these with the ones on the truck, because they might actually suit the truck a little bit better. And then also we should be able to get these mounted onto our NIVA. They aren't as wide as those, and yeah, I think I might actually just lift this thing up a little bit as well. So that is maybe something we can do in the future. But I think that is going to be a wrap for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, ask that you do consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio.